Hey Cloud Gamers, if you didn't know, the Shadow PC app is now available officially for the Logitech G Cloud. The Logitech G Cloud is also now available across Europe. We're going to have a look at how this is running on the device with Shadow Power and also show off some performance of Street Fighter VI as well as Diablo IV, running on some very good settings. First off, huge shout out to Shadow for sending us the G Cloud with the app pre-installed so we could check this one out. Shadow PC should come pre-installed, but if it isn't, you should be able to pick it up from the Google Play Store now. And I must say this works incredibly well. This is paired with the Shadow Power version, so we have got the best upgrade possible. Tapping on the screen gives us the Shadow options. You have to look out for the options coming up on the right. The native options in here are incredibly good. We can switch the mouse mode between trackpad and touch. If you've used any of the other applications or other handheld devices, you are stuck with the mouse control, which can be a little bit fiddly, but is also actually quite useful in some operations, as using Windows on such a small screen can be quite fiddly. So being able to toggle between touch mode and the mouse mode is extremely useful. I'm running the Shadow Power at 1920 by 1080, which is the full resolution of the G Cloud. I have the streaming rate set to 20 megabits per second, and as you can see here in Street Fighter, I've put the settings up to the absolute highest at 1080p. And just as a note, I did also do the shader warming on startup, which took around 5 minutes. It was quite long on Shadow for that pre-cache, but it only does it the first run. As you can see here, running Street Fighter in the World Tour mode, which is notoriously hard work especially on other handheld devices. If you tried to run this on the Steam Deck, for example, then you struggle to get 30 frames per second here on medium to low settings. So running this at high settings and getting between 50 and 60 frames per second moving around on the absolute highest settings is absolutely phenomenal. But when we go into those battles, we're still pushing 55 to 60 frames per second without an issue, and it looks absolutely glorious and absolutely no input latency at all here. If it wasn't for launching the game originally on Windows, you would not think that this was running across the internet or on a virtual computer. This feels absolutely local and is absolutely flawless. Considering it's a fighting game and every few milliseconds matters, you aren't going to have any issue playing this on the G Cloud. Even more so if I go into the battle mode, you can see this holds a 60 frames per second absolutely solidly, and it looks absolutely glorious. World Tour is definitely the more demanding of the modes, but you will want to be having the best abilities when you are on the one-on-ones, and that is not an issue at all here. If we switch over to Diablo IV, which is extremely hot right now, and you are going to want to spend a lot of your time in this game, once again, playing this on the G Cloud via Shadow Power is absolutely phenomenal. Running this on the high settings with the high resolution assets installed is absolutely flawless, again at 60 frames per second, and runs absolutely flawlessly. It's also worth noting that because you're streaming this from Shadow Power, the G Cloud's battery lasts a good 4 to 6 hours very happily running either of these games, even at their higher settings. So you are going to have absolute joy playing these games on the G Cloud. Even in Kayavashad here, which is notoriously bad for frame rates and dips on pretty much all devices, you can see Shadow actually has no issue here, and keeping those high settings was still stable at 60 frames per second, so it's absolutely glorious. Definitely worth looking into. This is definitely a great way to play. That 1080p screen with all of the resolution that Shadow Power can give is definitely worth it. Let us know your comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.